Good morning and welcome to World News here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. On Tuesday, Polish jets intercepted a Russian aircraft carrying out a reconnaissance mission in international airspace. In a post on X, the Polish armed forces wrote that Polish fighters intercepted an Il-20 aircraft conducting a reconnaissance mission in international airspace without a filed flight plan and with its transponder turned off. The aircraft did not violate Polish airspace, the Post said. Now, we will be covering this story in more detail on our TVP World website. According to a spokesperson for the Estonian Defense Forces, 2 unidentified drones flew near the Reedo military barracks in the southern part of the country on October 17th. Allied forces managed to shoot one of them down, while the other one disappeared from the radars, but no wreckage or debris has been found to date. Now, according to Liis Vaksman, the Estonian Defense Forces, along with the police and border guard, attempted to locate the downed drone. However, it could not be found in the area where it was believed to have crashed. She did not go into details as, quote, the EDF does not comment in detail on security-related incidents. The Reedo barracks are home to 5th Squadron of the U.S. Army's 7th Cavalry Regiment, which is an armored reconnaissance unit. Former NATO Secretary General Andrius Fogh Rasmussen met with EU Defense Commissioner Andrius Kubilius on Tuesday to discuss accelerating Europe's drone defense through new drone coalition initiatives.
Proud to launch DroneTechs, the Drone Defense Coalition, an industry-led coalition of European and Ukrainian defense tech firms for multi-layered, interoperable network to protect our skies. Prototype expected early 2026.
Ihor Brusilo, the Deputy Chief of Staff in the Office of the Ukrainian President, told World News Tonight the U.S. President Donald Trump's cancellation of his planned meeting with Vladimir Putin in Budapest was a calculated move. He also added that such talks should never take place on European soil in the future.
Now, I was reporting in Kiev, where you are now, when this phone call happened. One of the outcomes, of course, was a potential meeting between President Trump and Vladimir Putin in Budapest. That now seems to be off the cards. Do you think President Trump is being played by Vladimir Putin?
Well, it's in the opinion of Vladimir Putin that he is playing with President Trump, but the truth is opposite. And it's good to think that this meeting never happened, and it should never happen in Europe.
So you think President Trump should never meet with Vladimir Putin in Europe in the current state of negotiations?
That's right. I believe that would be a disrespect for Europe, and it will not give advantage to President Trump.
Tuesday evening, President of Latvia, Edgars Rinkēvičs, hosted a state dinner in honor of the King and Queen of Denmark, who are on a state visit to the country. The Latvian president highlighted the support that both countries provide for Ukraine. Meanwhile, King Friedrich X underscored the importance of NATO and the EU in defending peace and freedom in Europe.
We work side by side within the framework of Nordic-Baltic cooperation, which is increasingly important to us all. Together we stand for a free Ukraine and support it in its fight against Russian aggression. We support Ukraine bilaterally, as well as within NATO and the European Union. Next year we will also be working together in the United Nations Security Council. This will be our opportunity to stand together for Ukraine, for international peace, security and resilience.
We are strongest when we unite our efforts within the European Union and NATO and the United Nations, defending our security, freedom and peace together. A good example of this is the NATO headquarters of the Multinational Division North, where representatives from 19 NATO countries under Danish and Latvian leadership work side by side to defend Europe.
Speaking to the APEC business leaders gathering in South Korea, U.S. President Donald Trump stressed that a country's economic security is also its national security. In his speech, the American leader also claimed that tariffs strengthen alliances and are bringing peace to the world.
But economic security is, in fact, national security. I made the case that the global trading system was broken and in urgent need of reform, had to be fixed. The system had been exploited by countries that broke the rules at the expense of countries that followed the rules to a T. Presidency of China is coming tomorrow here, and we're going to be, I hope, making a deal. I think we're going to have a deal. I think it'll be a good deal for both. Not only are the tariffs strengthening our alliances, they're also bringing peace to the world. On Sunday in Malaysia, we signed the Kuala Lumpur peace accords, ending forever the war between Cambodia and Thailand. Thank you.
Well, Trump's visit to South Korea didn't go unnoticed by the country's politicians, with former presidential hopeful Kwon Ying-guk condemning the trip. Kwon compared Trump's tariffs to economic extortion and appealed to the countries of the Pacific Rim to stand in solidarity to build prosperity.
World leaders and governments are busy flattering Trump and displaying every possible act of diplomatic charm just to persuade him to lower US tariffs by a few percent. In the end, how absurd it is that they speak of international cooperation while each nation scrambles to serve its own interests under US pressure. Citizens along the Pacific Rim must stand together as a breakwater of solidarity, peace and equality to build true prosperity. Let us unite our voices to resist the corporate interests represented by APEC and the US's unilateral tariff threats and predatory investment demands, and to create a world where all people can live in equality.
In an unprecedented move in Polish history, prosecutors are moving to strip former Polish Justice Minister Zbigniew Ziobro of his parliamentary immunity. Currently an MP for Law and Justice, Ziobro has allegedly siphoned off over 35 million euros from the Polish state. If Parliament agrees, Ziobro could soon face arrest and up to 25 years in prison.
Poland's Prosecutor General and Justice Minister Waldemar Żurek filed a formal petition with the Polish Parliament on Tuesday after a lengthy investigation found substantial grounds to suspect Ziobro had committed dozens of offenses, including founding and leading a criminal organization.
Member of Parliament Zbigniew Ziobro committed 26 crimes. He founded and led an organized criminal group. These crimes include the misappropriation of public funds, money from the Justice Fund.
The case centers on the Justice Fund, a program created by Poland's previous right-wing Law and Justice government meant to aid victims of crimes. But during Ziobro's term as Justice Minister, it allegedly served as a source of political financing and possible personal gain for himself and his associates.
For the first time in Poland's history, and perhaps the first time in Europe's history, a former justice minister is suspected of leading an organized criminal group.
The investigation began in 2024 when a whistleblower provided recordings of private conversations between involved state officials. Now, speaking from Brussels, where he currently resides with his family, Ziobro denied the allegations, saying they're politically motivated.
All my life I have fought against crime. The fabricated charges against me are the work of the criminal gang that currently rules Poland.
If Parliament approves the request, prosecutors say Ziobro could be detained and face a potential 25 years in prison.
Hurricane Melissa made landfall in western Jamaica on Tuesday afternoon as the most powerful storm to ever directly hit the Caribbean nation. According to vacationers, they were expecting sunshine, but now have to wait out the rain and winds reaching up to 295 kilometers per hour inside shelters.
We were just expecting it to be sunshine and roses.
As far as the people here, the guests, they've been very cooperative. They've been very reassured.
Mm-hmm.
There's no panic. It's calm.
We spent the night in the shelter last night, and we could hear everyone sleeping, and even the babies were asleep. And I mean, little babies around us and little children, everyone was asleep. And it was peaceful in the shelter. They're all scared. They're scared.
And that's one of the things that's helped us cope, is to being able to reach out and visit with the locals, ask them how they're doing, if they're prepared, how their families are doing, whether they'll be on the property during the storm or not. So that's another technique that we have used to help ourselves cope and hopefully be a support to people that are giving up time away from their family to be here at the resort now.
I mean, I ain't never been through nothing like this before, so it's kind of scary trying to get back to my kids. But I guess we gotta wait it out and hope for the best.
The Winter Olympics are now less than 100 days away. To mark that milestone, Olympic committees held special events to promote the upcoming celebration of winter sports. Olympians and Paralympians from the United States symbolically lit up the Empire State Building in New York red, white, and blue. Several American athletes expressed their excitement about the countdown to the Olympics at a media event called Team USA Summit. The Austrian Olympic Committee, meanwhile, presented their official Olympic outfits. The 2026 Winter Olympics will take place in February at several sites in northern Italy. 3,500 athletes from 93 countries are going to compete for almost 200 Olympic medals. For the first time since 2014, the Olympics will see the participation of the best ice hockey players in the world, as the North American Ice Hockey League, the NHL, has allowed their players to take part. NASA's state-of-the-art supersonic jet airplane flew its first test flight on Tuesday as it took to the skies over the Southern California desert. The aircraft is expected to break the sound barrier without producing the noise accompanying such speeds. The X-59 jet is designed to reach speeds close to 1,500 kilometers per hour and fly as high as nearly 17 kilometers above the ground. If successful, this would mean the aircraft could travel at twice the altitude of regular jets, all the while being even 60% faster. Just 30 meters from nose to tail, the X-59 has a special design intended to minimize the explosive sonic boom. The signature noise would thus be lowered to a muffled sonic thump similar to that of a slamming a car door. A government minister in Albania has announced she's pregnant and expecting 83 children. Sounds unlikely? Well, that's because the minister in question is the world's first AI-powered virtual assistant to hold such a senior post, and how the country's Prime Minister, Edi Rama, has shed more light on her next move. Anastasia Yanchenko tries to explain.
This is the world's first AI-generated government minister, Diela. She wears traditional clothing and addresses voters in a calm voice through social media. Just 1 month after taking up her post as a Minister of Public Procurement, Diela has made headlines again. She's pregnant and expecting 83 children. During the announcement, Albania's Prime Minister described what kind of offspring the country can expect from its virtual minister.
These children will have their mother's knowledge regarding European Union legislation. There will be one for each member of our Socialist Parliamentary Caucus.
Diela was tasked with making public procurement 100% corruption-free and streamlining bureaucratic procedures as the country fights government corruption. After handling over 1 million citizen requests, Diela will now receive additional support from her kids. Her digital offspring will have roles that include participating in parliamentary sessions, keeping records, advising MEPs, summarizing discussions, and even suggesting ways to counter political opponents. For TVP World, Anastasia Yanchenko.
A herd of strictly protected Bezoar goats have been spotted roaming the slopes of the Munzur Mountains in the eastern part of Turkey. Now, footage here shows the animals moving up and down these steep hillsides in the country's Erzincan province. The region's nature conservation agencies and national parks are working to protect the species from illegal hunting by means of regular inspections. The goats are protected under a hunting ban not only for fear of extinction, but also due to their high cultural and religious significance for the local population. Considered sacred by locals, the Bezoar goats inhabit the Munzur Valley, which serves as a sanctuary for the region's endemic wildlife. And with that, we end this edition of World News here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skye. Thanks for watching.